Gonna vote everyone on this, so you'll move.
Yeah, sure, no problem.
Yep.
That's fine. That's fine. No problem.
All right.
All right, you're
Whatever the boss wants.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Board of Selectmen meeting, March 22nd, 2018 at 6 p.m., actually 6:03 p.m. I'm calling the meeting to order. The first item will be a final review of the fiscal year 2019 municipal budget requests. We're going to go through this line item by line item. I'll start it off, and it will be as following. Item number 1 is the administration. The budget for 2019 is proposed as $924,725.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Why don't I just read them and move them?
Yeah,
Is that good?
yes.
Okay. The second is the ZBA, Zoning Board of Appeals, at $500, and that's a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
I move the Conservation Commission at a recommended $26.85. Alan?
Second.
All in favor?
I would like to move Growth Planning Committee's budget at $10,000.
Second.
All in favor?
I move the legal fees budget at $68,000.
Second.
All in favor?
I move the insurance budget at $268,966.
Second.
All in favor?
I move community development at $28,547.
Second.
All in favor?
I move planning and development at $406,758.
Second.
All in favor?
I'd like to move the police department budget at $1,564,850.
Second.
All in favor?
I move communications budget at $504,279.
Second.
All in favor?
I move the fire department budget at $389,472.
Second.
All in favor?
I move the chems budget, $150,000.
Second.
All in favor?
I move the EMA budget at $1,500.
Second.
All in favor?
And I will start with the animal control, $15,056.
Second.
All in favor?
Harbor Master, move the Harbor Master amount at $20,957.
Second.
All in favor?
Move the solid waste at $457,895.
Second.
All in favor?
Move the health budget, $180,375.
Second.
All in favor?
Move the welfare at $3,335.
Second.
All in favor?
Move social services at $22,400.
Second.
All in favor?
Move shellfish at $3,945.
Second.
All in favor?
Move public restrooms at $32,500.
Second.
All in favor?
Move highway department at $846,357.
Second.
All in favor?
And the mechanic budget, $99,411.
Second.
All in favor?
I move utilities at $182,510.
Second.
All in favor?
I move shade tree at $42,071.
Second.
All in favor?
Cemetery at $18,794.
Second.
All in favor?
Recreation, $259,744.
Second.
All in favor?
Graves Library, $150,000.
Second.
All in favor?
Cape Porpoise Library, $13,950.
Second.
All in favor?
Parsons Way, $3,900.
Second.
All in favor?
Goose Rocks Beach Advisory, $40,000.
Second.
All in favor?
Contingency, $151,894.
Second.
All in favor?
And finally, miscellaneous, $10,790.
Second.
All in favor?
Do we have more?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
we have more.
Next page.
Yeah, the next page, right, just this one?
I move administration at $20,000.
Second.
All in favor?
Police, $37,000.
Second.
All in favor?
Fire reserve, $186,100.
Second.
All in favor?
Highway, $175,000.
Second.
All in favor?
Road improvements, $717,000.
Second.
All in favor?
Sidewalk construction, $93,000.
Second.
All in favor?
Recreation, $200,000.
Second.
All in favor?
Special projects, $65,000.
Second.
All in favor?
Piers, $130,000.
Second.
All in favor?
And debt service, $210,957,000.
Second.
All
Lori,
in
do you
fa-
need a total as well?
Yeah.
No, okay.
Okay.
I was gonna read that.
Yeah.
That was my intention, make it easy for everyone.
For those of you keeping score at home, it's about $8.7 million.
All right. The next item on the agenda is to approve the minutes from March the 9th.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? And the minutes for March 15th.
So moved.
Second.
I was not.
You were not here. All in favor? That takes care of that. Item 4 is the public forum. This is an opportunity for anyone who wants to address the Board of Selectmen with any issue that's not on the agenda. Please step forward. Seeing none, we'll move on. Item 5 is to consider a renewal of a special amusement permit for the Ramp Grill LLC, DBA Pier 77 Restaurant, 77 Pier Road.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Next item is to consider a renewal liquor license application submitted by U.S. Hotels New England LLC and U.S. Hotels New England Management Corporation, DBA, The Breakwater Spa, 127 Ocean Avenue.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Next, to consider a renewal of a special permit application submitted by the U.S. Hotels New England LLC and U.S. Hotels New England Management Corporation, DBA, The Breakwater Spa, 127 Ocean Avenue.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? The next item is to review the proposed ordinance revisions and to vote on, to place it on a town meeting. Laurie?
So over the past month, you have been reviewing these proposed ordinance revisions for the town meeting warrant. The street ordinance would propose some changes to the E911 addressing ordinance to bring the language up to date. The administrative code would allow the changes to address the organizational structural changes that we have proposed for highway and wastewater into public works. The Cape Porpoise Pier ordinance will include the supervision of the pier manager by the police chief. The revisions to land use ordinance regarding the growth area map, this amendment will allow the update to the map to reflect the current infrastructure access, allowing properties to be reclassified from one type of rate of growth area to another. The revisions to land use ordinance clarifying setbacks related to lot lines and rights-of-way will remove the confusing and contradictory language regarding setbacks from roads and right-of-ways. The revision to land use ordinance regarding lot coverage credit for semi-pervious materials will bring us up to date with the state DEP office in regards to the shoreland zone and the calculation toward a lot's overall lot coverage restriction. And the floodplain management ordinance revision will remove the floodplain permit fee from the ordinance and place it in a fee schedule that can be set by the Board of Selectmen. We have gone through the process of public notice. We have had revisions by the town attorney brought forward to you at your last meeting. And what we are looking for tonight is a vote from the selectmen to place these on the town meeting warrant.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
The next step in the process will be at your next meeting in April. We'll ask you to certify those ordinances, that those are the final copies that will be voted on.
Okay. The next item will be to appoint a town officer, and we have Matthew Philbrook here with us tonight, who's going to step up and tell us a little bit about himself. Please come to the podium, Matthew.
Matthew and Werner, his
And Werner.
supervisor, are coming to the podium now. Matthew is a current town employee. He has been for a while, and he has moved over from Public Works Department to Planning and Codes to fill our opening is the Assistant Code Officer that Wayne Matthews left vacant. We are very fortunate to have Matthew on our team, and he has already learned a lot about the position and is attending training to get his certifications, but this is a great opportunity for Matthew to tell a little bit about, and Matthew lives in town.
He's a native, too.
And he's a native, and we'll let Matthew tell a little bit about himself.
Good luck.
Well, I started out in Kennebunk 7 years ago now, and I was fortunate enough to step over to this side of the bridge where the grass is greener. Worked for Mike for about 18 months and had a wonderful opportunity present itself to me, and I'm really happy to take it.
We're really happy to have you.
Very happy to have you. Thank you. And Werner, did you want to say anything?
Warner
No.
always wants to say something.
Yeah.
No, I think, I'll second, Lori's position as well, that, we're happy to have Matthew on board with us. He's been a quick study with us so far, and, has a good demeanor with, with the public, with the contractors out there, so looking forward to having him on board.
Outstanding.
Great.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Good.
There are other officers to be noticed.
What I thought I'd do is, I can read the slate and then move it as, in its entirety. Is that okay with you, boss?
Yes.
Okay. Good. So, for the role of Animal Control Officer, David R. Conway, Assessor's Agent, Rebecca Nolette, Code Enforcement Officer, Werner Gilliam, Assistant Code Enforcement Officer, Greg Reed, Assistant Code Enforcement Officer, Matthew Philbrick, Plumbing Inspector, Werner Gilliam, Assistant Plumbing Inspector, Gregory Reed, Assistant Plumbing Inspector, Matt Philbrick, Constable, Tracy O'Rourke, Emergency Management Director, Craig Sanford, Fire Inspector, Scott Langtain, Harbor Master, Cape Porpoise, Lee McCurdy, Harbor Master, Kennebunk River, James Black, Health Officer, Allison Kennaway, Deputy Health Officer, Angela Jenks, Public Access Officer, Tracy O'Rourke, Registrar of Voters, Tracy O'Rourke, Road Commissioner, Mike Claus, Shellfish Warden, Everett Leach, Street Naming and Numbering Delegate, Jim Burrows, Tax Collector, Lori Smith, Town Clerk, Tracy O'Rourke, Town Forester, Patrick Briggs, Treasurer, Jennifer Lord, and Tree Warden, Patrick Briggs. That is a motion to approve that slate.
Second.
All in favor?
So Pat can't vote on the slate.
Well, I didn't vote on myself. I voted
Okay.
on everybody else. Okay. The next item is the consider the 2017 supplemental tax warrant for CDMK LLC as penalty for removing of 31 acres from the tree growth program. So Becky, were you going to speak to that, and Laurie as well?
Yep, so Becky, our assessor's agent, is here tonight to answer any questions. Becky's just gonna cover the state statute and the requirements when people take property out of tree growth.
Yes, exactly. So when somebody is in the tree growth program, they receive a benefit a lower assessment for their property because they're part of this program. Once they choose to remove it, they notify the assessor's office to the amount that they want to remove. We have to figure out a penalty based on the years that are in, what the current tree growth rates are for the type of wood that they're removing, how long it's been in the program, what the current tax rate is. We do all that little mathematical calculation sheet, and we come up with a penalty. And that has to be then presented as a supplemental assessment for the taxpayer. That way, if there's any issues later on, the town has recourse to file a lien to make sure that the payment is received.
Okay. We need to have a motion for that. There is an amount listed.
Yes, I moved that we set the fine at $65,780.
It's a penalty, right?
It's a penalty.
The penalty.
Yeah, a supplemental bill.
It's supplemental.
Second.
Second.
All in favor? Thank you.
You're welcome.
Next item is to authorize town manager to sign the memorandum of understanding for shelter services between Kennebunkport, Kennebunk, and Arundel. Laurie?
Yes, so the town of Kennebunkport, like most municipalities in Maine, tries to make arrangements in an emergency situation for its residents. And that can be anything from a warming station where people can come in to warm up literally, and in today's world, charge their electronics, to an actual shelter. And a shelter has certain requirements, including a need for a certain amount of showers and restrooms for every person, as well as access and staffing. The October storm that you all remember that left portions of Kennebunkport without power for about a week left us in a quandary because the consolidated school is certainly our designated shelter area, and they were in session. School was working, they have a generator, but the residents did not have a place to go. And luckily, the temperatures were such that most people decided to stay home and were fine doing that. If that had been in January, it would have been very different. Chief Sanford, who is our EMA director, and I reached out to the towns of Kennebunk and Arundel to push the issue of a joint shelter. Shelters in today's world are not what they once were. You can have something for an extended period of time. You need those basic requirements, as well as you have people with varying medical conditions. People want to bring their pets. And so it has become a more complicated scenario. Also, you need to be able to maintain staffing at the shelter, cook meals, and in a small community that can tax our staff who are also responding to emergencies and can be difficult to keep the shelter open. So Arundel and Kennebunk were very open to this idea. The RSU and school superintendent were also very generous. We met on several occasions and determined that the middle school of the Kennebunks would be our primary location, with the Dot Stevens Community Center, which is next to the middle school, to be the opening session. So the first shelter for a small group of people could happen at Dot Stevens Community Center, and then if it rose to the level that we needed additional room, we would move over to the gymnasium at the middle school. It is in a location that we could have a separate entrance. They could continue to have school operational, and we can also have pets housed at the Dot Stevens Community Center. It'll also allow us to share resources, so we're proposing a budget jointly that we would purchase cots and other needed materials so that we're ready to roll if an emergency opens up. And the actual operations is something Chief Sanford is working on with Kennebunk and Arundel to handle staffing and schedules. So I think this is a win-win for all three, and the school as well, and gives us the ability, if something happens there, we can certainly back up and use other facilities in one of the three communities. So we are suggesting that we have this memorandum of understanding, and I have also included the budget for your review.
I know no one's had time to look at this, but we've been studying this potential solution for some time. And it makes great sense to do it with all three towns involved and divide the cost up among us. The support is better, and you save money in the long run. So the makeup of this budget, including all the items, comes to $3,345. And if you divide that by three communities, it's just $1,115 per community, which is great, makes great sense to do this. So,
I think it's a great idea.
yeah,
Yeah, I would move that we authorize Lori to take that action.
Second.
all in favor?
So just a note on this, that in the future, should this agreement work out, we only want to do a memorandum of understanding. We may need to have an interlocal agreement between the three towns
Okay.
to meet state statute requirements, but for now, it's a short-term agreement for us to try this out and see how it works.
Great, great, thank you. The next item would be to authorize the town manager to enter into a contract for the construction of the Parks and Recreation Building conditional upon approval of the special town meeting funding, which is coming up in a week. So Laurie?
I'm going to ask Carol Cook to come to the podium as well. As you know, we budgeted for our Parks and Recreation Building in June of 2017. The town authorized funding for that. We went into the final design work and put the project out to bid earlier this year. As we went to the final bid process, we had an updated cost estimate that was a considerable sum over our original estimate. Some of it was due to some changes in the building, but the clear majority was just due to market changes in that year. Time period construction costs have increased dramatically. We did receive the bids. And the discussion at the budget meeting last week have led us to a special town meeting for next week to see if the town will allow us to transfer up to $200,000 from our capital reserve fund balance account in order to finish the project. We received 7 bids overall. The base bid for the lowest was from DiMatteo Construction at $729,500. The highest base bid amount was from PC Construction at $961,800. We began working on the 2 low bids, which was DiMatteo and Risbara Brothers. Did reference checking, both myself as well as our engineering firm, looked at some of their current projects and did some phone calling on those as well. What we did find was that based on the reference checking and also the size of construction projects that both companies have taken on, and some questions about the current list of projects, for one of the bidders, we are recommending that the town actually award to the second lowest bidder, which would be Risbara Brothers at $751,000. And although that is about $20,000 more than the low bid, we believe that we will be able to value engineer those savings with Risbara Brothers, and that we are looking at the long-term quality of the project as well as trying to minimize any potential change orders and schedule issues. Carol, do you have anything else you want to add?
No, I think you really covered everything.
I would move, oops, sorry.
Go ahead.
I was going to move that we authorize the town manager to enter the contract for construction of the building.
With
Second.
Risbara Brothers Construction for $751,000.
Moved and seconded.
Second.
All in favor? Thank you, Carol.
There you go.
So
Off and running.
Carol and I will meet with Risbara Brothers and begin the work of value engineering. But we will not sign any contract until the town meeting vote takes place.
The next item is to authorize a housing committee. And this has been an ongoing discussion and a result of a lot of work that's been done by the town in looking into the need for housing. And Laurie, you have some comments to lead us?
Yes, in your packet, you have a memo from me about the Housing Committee. We undertook after our first housing charrette in the work of the Growth Planning Committee, we undertook the Housing Assessment Study, which happened last fall and was completed in January of this year. And I think that the study really helped us to better define the issues that we have at hand, and they have recommended several strategies for us to consider and tools. And I think that we really need to move forward with undertaking those. In the budget process, I requested funds for a consultant to assist us in a review of our land use ordinance, so that we can look at how that land use ordinance might be impacting the cost of housing without just increasing development. We also asked for some funding under planning and codes to review town properties so that we can better understand if any of those may be potentials. And then we also need to look at some of the other strategies, including the possibility of a housing trust, the donation of land to a developer or housing entity, affordable housing tax increment financing, and then partnering with affordable housing developers. And those could include partners like Habitat for Humanity, which we have worked with before, to other nonprofit as well as private. So I think we have, like many things, it's usually not one home run that wins the game. You know, it is many people working together. I'm using a baseball analogy because it's spring now.
It is spring?
It is spring. But it will take, many legs of the stool in order for us, I think, to reach our goal. But I think to start a housing committee for what I am recommending is a 2-year period to work on these strategies and bring back their thoughts and recommendations to the Board of Selectmen. We have had some people who have been contacting us over time about the housing idea and their desire to continue to work on it. And we have them listed here in your packet with their volunteer forms. Jim Fitzgerald is here tonight, and he's with the Growth Planning Committee as well and worked in real estate. And Jim would be a nice connection to the Growth Planning Committee and the work that they have done, and we would certainly be recommending him. We also have Bill Dugan and David Kling. David also has worked with the planning board and very familiar with our land use ordinances. And Pat Clancy is a newer resident, but Pat has worked on affordable housing projects in another state. So we also think that Werner should be appointed to the committee, and I think it would be good to have a representative from the Board of Selectmen, and I believe Pat Briggs is willing to serve. I think that would be the start of our committee, and that there may be, over time, a need for some additional people working in a subcommittee aspect to it, but that is what I would be recommending.
I'll make a motion to authorize a housing committee for a 2-year period.
Second.
All in favor? Okay.
Thank you,
Do you
Laura.
want us to name names?
Are we,
Yeah.
you want impanelment today?
If you are so inclined, then yes.
I would move the committee to be comprised of the names mentioned just moments ago by Lori.
Second.
All in favor?
Sounds like it's a pretty good committee.
It does.
Absolutely.
I
lot
think
of
it represents the entire spectrum of the town and the people with long experience in various areas. So they bring everything to bear. And I'm very optimistic that we're going to be able to put together a plan. So,
And I know that Dan Sanders is here tonight, who is the chair of our GPC. I don't know if he had anything he wanted to add.
yes, please. I'm sorry.
Everything happened the way I was hoping. Dan Saunders, I'm the chairman of the Growth Planning Committee, and really kind of speaking just as a chairman, because we didn't do a vote in the GPC, but I believe this committee and also the one you're going to bring up next on the agenda are two valuable committees for this town. These are topics that we've dealt with in the GPC, but they're a little bit bigger than what we can just focus on because of our other duties with the comp plan, which actually has been in service for about 6 years and is going to be due for a redo. So we need to start focusing on redoing the comp plan. So the one thing I was going to ask, and you have done, is hopefully one of our members could at least be part of these committees because they bring the experience of what we've been doing the past couple of years to bear, and I think it would be beneficial for the town.
Yes, certainly.
So, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any other comments for the subject? The next item would be to authorize a short-term rental committee, and I'll let Laurie give the background on this.
Over the past few years, I know that the Board of Selectmen and myself have heard a number of complaints about short-term rentals in town. They have come from certainly their competitors, or what they believe are their competitors in the industry, bed and breakfasts and small inns, in terms of the differing requirements. Those have been, in terms of fire safety codes, much more stringent on the small businesses rather than a residential home, to even land use and zoning, where a patio could not be expanded because they were a non-conforming use as a business, whereas the home next door that may have 4 or 5 bedrooms could expand the patio and do things because they're a residential use. We've received complaints because people feel that this is a commercial venture in their residential neighborhood, their small subdivision, and it's impacting their quality of life. Noise complaints, the sense that it is a party going on next door every weekend. And then in the housing assessment study, it was also noticed that because the residential homes are being bought up as business ventures, that is impacting the market price of our homes as well, and another reason that it's having an impact. I know that the Growth Planning Committee had tried to look at this and was dealing with the rumors, was not able to really impact this. This is a much bigger ball of wax. I think that we are not, unlike a lot of communities throughout the United States that have a seasonal tourism aspect to them. And you can see that a number of communities are attacking this in various ways. South Portland, for example, is outlawing rentals in their residential neighborhoods. And I'm not suggesting that's where we go, but that's one aspect. Other communities are going through a licensing provision. Some are requiring safety checks. Some are capping the number of rentals. So there is a whole host of ways in which people are trying to address this issue. I think that Kennebunkport just needs to look at what makes sense for Kennebunkport. And it may be that in certain zones that it is much more allowed than maybe in other zones. Goose Rocks Beach, to me, is a perfect example of where rentals have been a part of that culture and community for many, many years. And I think people expect that, whereas on a small subdivision road, someplace else, it's not maybe meeting that mix. But I think we would need I see this more like a 9-month committee. I think it's something that we could do the remainder of 2018, maybe hopefully finishing up by January of 19, bringing back their proposals, at least at that point, where we know where we are headed. I think there should be some public process, some meetings to get additional input, and that the committee should be a varied mix of individuals. Maybe somebody who was in the, has received a rumors license from us, somebody from Goose Rocks, somebody maybe in the rental market, some residents who have seen the impacts, and that we should be able to come forward with how we may want to address this. So I am recommending a short-term committee for authorization, and I think that we would be looking for volunteers. We've already had some people fill out volunteer forms already, and we would be bringing those to you at a meeting, maybe your next one.
Fantastic.
Great idea.
Motion to authorize a short-term rental committee for a period of 9 months.
Second.
All in favor?
Can I ask a question?
Certainly. Step to the podium, please.
Hi, I'm Maria Yunker. I'm a 40-year resident at Goose Rocks. I also own a rental agency with my husband there, do rentals at Goose Rocks Beach. Just a couple of questions. Do you envision a certain number of people on the committee, Laurie? How will you determine the number? And if more people apply than you're going to have on the committee, how are you going to select them? And then my third question would be, would all committee meetings be open to the public?
So, we have not set a number. I think that our goal would be that it would be probably less than 9, just so that it's a manageable number. I think that the board would be looking for a variety of people, representing different areas of town and different interest groups, so that we have that mix. And it would be up to the board to decide the process of who they would like to see on the committee.
And
I would imagine it to be very much like what we do with other ones. We would review the applicants, ahead of the meeting, and then invite everyone who's interested to come. And where there are questions, or if people want a crack at presenting themselves, we would give it to them for sure.
And has there been any talk at all about potentially grandfathering existing rentals, much like when we make a zoning change? Or would that just be a whole topic for the committee to talk about?
I think it would be a whole topic for the committee. I mean,
Okay.
we haven't gone any further than looking and to me, the first step, and Werner and I have talked about gathering what all the other communities are doing and kind of presenting that to me. It's like a spreadsheet form, so you
Yeah.
can see. And I think the committee would start by just talking about what some of the challenges are we're hearing and seeing. And then maybe seeing what the mix of what people are doing, what different towns and cities are doing, kind of get a grasp of the subject matter, and then maybe have some public meetings and start to winnow down what makes sense.
Okay, so anybody who wants to be considered for the committee, there's a form that
Yep.
they would fill out
They
that's
should-
available online?
It is under the Board of Selectmen's page. There's a volunteer committee form.
Yeah.
And they should fill that out, or they can contact our office and we'll get one to them.
Okay, great, thank you so much.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Okay, the next item will be to address Sarah LaChance to discuss a proposed resolution regarding offshore drilling. And Sarah, would you step up to the podium? Laurie, you have any comments to start off?
I don't. Sarah
Okay.
asked to be on the agenda, and we put the information in your
Okay.
packet.
Hi, everyone.
Hello, Sarah.
Did y'all have a chance to look at the
Yes.
resolution? So what I put forth was literally a carbon copy minus the word Kennebunkport for the resolution that got passed in both Portland and South Portland. So as you're probably all familiar with, Trump has proposed opening the entire oceans of the United States for offshore drilling. And there has been a lot of opposition for numerous reasons to stop that, particularly here in the state of Maine, recognizing how closely tied a healthy ocean is to our economy, our way of life. So many of our folks going out to sea and getting their living, and obviously so many folks traveling to the state of Maine to enjoy the ocean waters and the bounty that comes out of it. So I'm asking that you all consider signing this resolution, which basically says that you want to continue to protect our waters, and also in the name of climate change, recognizing that we can't really afford to go drilling more oil, particularly offshore oil. We know what happened when Horizon down in the south kept leaking and leaking and leaking for months on end. We're talking about a similar type of process happening up and down the coast here, and that would be absolutely devastating to Maine's waters, as well as the seismic testing that has to take place in order for this to happen. There's all kinds of evidence that this is catastrophic to endangered species like the whales that migrate up and down our shorelines, as well as it also affects other sea creatures in terms of being able to get their call out, in terms of mating and moving around and things like that. So even if there was never a spill, just the act of the exploration of looking for oil underneath the ocean floor is going to be having a very adverse impact on life in the ocean. So.
Well, you provided us with a copy of the City of Portland's resolution. Is this what you have in mind
Yes.
for us to sign?
Yeah, and there have been over 120 communities along the entire eastern seaboard that have signed similar resolutions, but I just figured rather than reinvent the wheel and just pulled one off of a main community. And Portland signed first, and then South Portland followed. And when I originally asked to get on the agenda, before we had the snowstorm and it got rescheduled, it was still during the public hearing timeframe, and that timeframe has closed. However, all of our federal delegation is very much in opposition to this. So this, as you noted on the second page, this would be sent to them as well, so that they will continue to sort of echo our wants down there in Washington as this thing moves through the process.
And I did receive an email from Carol Labassiniere, our chair of the Conservation Commission, and she noted to me this evening before the meeting that they are supporting the resolution.
Okay. Then we need a motion
So moved.
that we sign
A version
we'll have to have a
prepared for
version, I don't know.
right, prepared
Kennebunkport.
Yeah.
for us, but similar to what Portland has signed.
Second.
All in favor? Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you. You made my day.
Next item is to accept donations for Kennebunkport Emergency Food Program. We have a number of donations, and very pleasant to read them out. It's a donation of $177 from RSU 21 Consolidated School Sock Hop fundraiser, which is very generous of them.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? The next would be a donation of $500 from William J.J. Gordon Family Foundation.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? And the third would be a donation of $50 from the Madonna Chapter 144.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Those were all for the emergency food program. Next, we have donations to the Kennebunkport Emergency Fuel Program. Donation of $96.13 from the RSU 21 Consolidated School Sock Hop fundraiser.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Next was a donation of $5,000 from Timothy Harrington.
So
So,
moved.
second.
All in favor? Next would be a donation of $500 from William J.J. Gordon Family Foundation.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? The next one would be a donation of $1,000 from the Atlantic Firemen's Association.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
That's the Atlantic Hall, for anybody who's wondering what that actually is.
You're right, all right. And the next donation is for $1,130 from Seaside Hotel Association Limited Partnership.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? And the final donation is $250 from United Way.
Second.
That was me moving.
Okay, moving.
Yeah, I moved, he seconded, that's good. He read
You
my
know what
mind.
we meant. All in favor? Okay, that's it. Those were all for the fuel
That's
program.
great.
And considering the winter weather we've had, I think we are very fortunate to have that and very appreciative of it.
And this year, with the federal budget being held up, the LIHEAP funds did not come down. And
Right.
so we had a lot of people in need this year.
Yeah, it's, when you get a hit in the LIHEAP funds, you really have to scramble to cover that. So next would be to accept donations to the Kennebunkport Public Health Nurses General Needs Account. It's a donation of $2,115.19 from the Village Fire Company.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Next donation is $250 from the First Congregational Church.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? And we thank them and the public health nurses make good use of that, believe me. Next would be donations to the Kennebunkport Public Health Nurses General Account.
You gonna read
And
them?
it's a donation of $100 from Jennifer Stewart.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? And a donation of $50 from Margaret Murray.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Extreme generosity. I mean,
It
across the
is
board for this entire list.
Impressive.
Sincere appreciation on behalf of the town of Kennebunkport and the Board of Selectmen to all of the individuals and organizations that make it their mission and take the time to think about these things and to generate so kindly and generously. It's greatly appreciated.
Yes, without a doubt. We're fortunate to have everyone helping us out. So that brings us to other business. And one of the things that we've got is the picture.
Yep, so tonight I showed you the entries from the town report cover contest.
Right.
And so you guys can look at those, and we would just like your feedback. You don't have to vote on that, but let us know your thoughts on that.
Okay. Any other business coming before the board? Alan, you got
I'm all
any?
set.
All right, Stu?
Nothing from me, thank you, Pat.
Okay, thank you.
All set?
No, thank you.
Laurie, anything else? I have nothing, so with that, we will approve the March 22nd,
So moved.
2018
Second.
Treasurer's Warrant.
Moved and seconded.
All in favor?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to move that we would go into executive session pursuant to MRSA 1 subsection 405-6D to discuss union negotiations, and also pursuant to MRSA 1 subsection 405-6A to discuss personnel issues. Lori, do you anticipate we'll be taking any action as we emerge from the executive session, or shall we plan to adjourn immediately after?
You may, after union negotiations.
Okay.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second.
Second.
All in favor? We are now going into executive session. Thank you, everyone.
Dave, you getting ready to play some golf here real soon?
Happy to help.
Kennebunk, how is that?
Move
Is
things
it,
along.
is it